I think the headless CMS by itself, it opens up as a software for many new use cases that traditional web CMSs were not suited to be built.
Hi, this is your Swapnil Bhartiya and welcome to TFR Let's Talk. Today we have with us Michael Lukaszczyk, CEO of Hygraph. Michael, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Since you're also co-founder of the company, so I want to ask a couple of questions. So it's like going back in the history lane is that when you created the company, what problem you saw at that point where you felt like, hey, you know what? Nobody is solving this problem. Someone has to solve it. So let's go and do it. So talk about that. Talk about the whole story behind the company.
Let me go actually a little bit back how we got started. So Daniel and me. So Hygraph is what we're doing in a nutshell is a next generation content management platform. And it wasn't that from the first day when me and my co-founder would set out to our entrepreneurial journey. So we met, Daniel and me, we met at another company called Kanto. We're both software engineers there, and this company was in the digital asset management space. So it's like file asset management for the enterprise with a certain marketeer focus. And we met there. We became good friends, and we ultimately we decided, hey, we believe that we can build really good software and really good products. So we left that company. Initially started out even doing something completely different. Well, not completely different than what we were doing over at Kanto. We started building our own digital asset management system, and we're a couple of months already in. And we had a really good prototype, I believe. We were getting ready for the fundraising craze. And then really randomly, a couple of months in, it was early 2016, it was Friday evening, I was going to bed, but as a lot of tech people, you would scroll through your Twitter feed before going to sleep. At least I did that. And then I found a blog post that was called "What is a Headless Content Management System" by Chris Coyier from CSS Tricks. And I was reading the blog post and I was quite intrigued by it. I didn't know what a headless CMS was at this point, and frankly, early 2016, no one really knew what a headless CMS was. But I was really amazed by the capabilities of it, mainly for the reasons of the sustainability and the durability of the product model. So the headless CMS, what it does in a nutshell is it helps you getting digital content of any type onto any platform, be it managing your content for your website, for your mobile app, for your smart TV, doesn't matter. It helps you getting your content anywhere. So that was a relatively new category, and this blog post was writing about it, and it was a little bit love at first sight. And at the same time, learning about the headless CMS, Daniel and me were already experimenting with GraphQL, which is an API technology that helps communicating with APIs on the internet much easier. It gives you a much better developer experience when working with APIs. So there was that was new at the same time, but the only headless CMSs that were just around at this time would serve REST APIs, so you wouldn't be able to use GraphQL with them. And we saw an entrance window there. We love the idea of the headless CMS because whatever comes next in terms of digital channel, be it maybe with the new Apple goggles, AR, VR will become really big. You're all set for this. But we also loved GraphQL as a technology to get your data into your applications. So we said, hey, let's build the first GraphQL-native Headless CMS out there. We called it GraphCMS back then, so we're not called GraphCMS anymore. We rebranded to Hygraph. But that was our initial journey, and we could attract a lot of users and customers to our platform because the developer experience with our system was superior than to the others.
Talk about the importance and role of headless CMS in today's modern world. And is a market that you feel is saturated? Is it a market where you also see a lot of greenfield deployment? I just want to understand the state of market.
If you look at the overall content management market, there's kind of a saturation in there in a sense that this market is very old. The CMS market has started from the 90s, and there's a lot of players. There's hundreds of traditional classic web CMSs out there, the WordPress, the Drupals, the Typo 3s, but the headless world is a subsegment of it, which I believe, while there is competition, it is not saturated yet, and the market is growing. And as we see, we're growing also well year over year. Of course, we're putting in a lot of effort to grow above the average of the market. But once the market is growing and you perform above average, then of course you will grow even better than the market. And I think the headless CMS by itself, it opens up as a software for many new use cases. The traditional web CMSs were not suited to be built. Well, the traditional web CMSs, like the WordPresses of the world, they would help you building websites, and they were mostly built for page-based experiences, which marketeers love to build websites for any sort of purposes to market maybe a product, a service. But it's not in particular good to really build digital products with it. And by digital product, I mean software products that live by its digital content, like Netflix kind of application. So a video streaming platform. You wouldn't build a Netflix kind of application with WordPress, because it's way more data driven, it's way more heavier, it's way more complex, and the web CMSs aren't suitable to serve this. Headless CMS like Hygraph can help you with that.
So what kind of companies would you consider are ideal candidates for headless CMS like Hygraph?
So first of all, the market is gigantic because a lot of companies produce content that they want to capitalize on. They want to make content their asset, be it marketing content, be it the digital asset for a video on demand streaming platform, be it data, be it an analysis. Are you a Gartner or a Forrester kind of company? Are you a publishing company? You have data and you want to bring this data ideally in a lot of many different formats and a lot of different outputs. So eventually you want to reach your customers via websites, via mobile apps. Maybe you want to bring your content even in game into computer games because you have an e-commerce running like a skin shop or an asset shop within your computer game. There's a lot of structured content that is being produced by those companies. And I would say wherever this is the case, then we can build a good case for a headless CMS, really regardless of the industry. So if we look at our at the customer demographics of our customer base, which is close to 500 customers as of today, then we have very big companies, we have medium-sized companies, we have small companies in there, and from very diverse industries. But when it comes down that they need the same capability, namely managing their content, bringing this content onto many different platforms, being free in the choice of the front-end technology stack that they want to choose, then we can build a really good case for a headless CMS. Dr. Oetker, the food and beverage company, they're building their whole global web presence with Hygraph along with the recipe catalog. We have Samsung that is building an internal member portal. We have Statistics Finland, which is a government agency of the country of Finland that is publishing all the statistical data that they analyze for the country. For example, what is the meat consumption of each Finn per year, and they publish this data on this portal. So it's statistical data. It's very different use cases, very different data, but in the end, it's structured data that we can handle very well. And very often, this data or content lands on different platforms. So it's being repurposed not just for the web, but for other applications as well, as I mentioned before.
While we're talking about the company, can you also talk about the funding round, how and also what plans you have for growth in 2024?
So the last funding round was in our Series B. We closed it around February 2023, so that's almost 1 year ago. And I was very happy about it because everyone told me, "Hey, are you crazy? Don't go out and raise a round. It's a Shark Tank right now. You won't succeed." But I did. Actually, we could raise the round within 90 days. So from first day pitch to being at the notary that was even faster than our Series A, which we did at the heydays of venture capital in 2021. So that was great. So roughly $30 million that we could access to scale the team, to build out the product and to build out our extended product vision, sort of our product market fit vision. I have mentioned that we started off as a headless CMS, which helps you getting the content via an API integrated into any platforms that you like. And what we're pushing nowadays is the next generation of content management system. And we call that a federated content platform, content federation capabilities in general. So what this helps you is not just getting your content onto any website, mobile app whatsoever. It helps you sourcing content and data from anywhere, from any system that has an API, at least a REST API or GraphQL API, because we have figured out that in our customer base, and people that build modern architectures have very often a very diverse backend ecosystem. So they have multiple CMSs, they have e-commerce systems, they have product information management systems, digital asset management, they have homegrown databases. They have a lot of data silos that are really hard to access in a meaningful way to get this data easily into your front end. And with content federation, we're turning the promise of the headless CMS around, of not just being front-end agnostic, but also being back-end agnostic by pulling all your APIs into one big API graph, so that the developers building the digital experiences for web, for mobile, etc., really only have to talk with one API and have an easy way accessing all the companies and organizational data, which is just an amazing developer experience. You don't have to build a middleware anymore, a custom middleware that pulls the stuff together, gives you a new API that gets outdated. It's a mess. So in modern composable architecture, as the market calls it, you have a lot of moving parts, but integrating things is hard. And with that funding, we are improving our product in that direction so that we can support those use cases better. Besides this, we're expanding internationally. We hire people across the globe. We just recently hired a new CRO in the Bay Area because we're having a focus. We're focusing more on the North American market to get more footprint there. We have hired a fantastic new CPO here in Germany and in Berlin. So we're trying to improve really everywhere.
And since we're talking about the growth, tell us, just give a teaser, because I do know there are a lot of things that you cannot talk about at this point. You will talk about it when you want to create a news splash, but just give us a teaser what to expect in 2024 from Hygraph.
I would say there's sort of three core areas we're putting really a big effort in. So the first one is the product. We're really a product-centric company, and we know that a better product experience wins in the market because we serve a lot to developers, and developers have a high standard on the tools they use. Good tools for developers are really status symbols. They're proud of the stack they're choosing. So we constantly have to raise the bar on the quality of our product. So we did a complete re-architecture of our content management interface, which we call the Hygraph Studio, which will be much more performant than before. Before was already good. Now comes great, and we'll roll it out in Q1 this year, along with many new content management, editorial, and content federation features. That is one. The second is we are doubling down on bottom-up user acquisition. So we really want to make it easier for companies of any kind to come into our product, to really be engaged with the product, to join our community, and basically becoming part of the Hygraph gang. That was the second one. And the third one, we're doubling down on our partner ecosystem. So we're doing a lot of collaborations with digital agencies, systems integrators, other vendors from the industry for integrations, because it's very often very complex, the projects that are being made. So it's better to involve many capable people and organizations. So we have tripled our partner management team, and we will expand our footprint in those ecosystems a lot.
There are two things that are becoming very, very hot topic these days. One is security and second is generative AI. When it comes to headless CMSs, talk a bit about how much security plays a role there, of course, to ensure the securing the platform, and what kind of scope and potential do you see of generative AI in this space, or what kind of scope you can see of headless CMSs for generative AI where they can use that as interface?
Let's talk about security in the content management context first, and then let's talk about Gen AI. So of course, security is important. We serve a lot of very big customers. They expect they have the highest expectations on security mechanisms, authentication and authorization systems. Also on the compliance side, they expect us to be compliant with all the SOC 2s and the ISOs of the world, which we do as well. But in general, the headless CMS is easier to protect than the web CMS per se, because you only have the API as the entrance vector to your data, and that is much easier to secure with authentication and authorization, best practices, with good protection mechanisms in front of your APIs, like rate limiting, protection of DDoS attacks in front of it, which is very often on more traditional systems like WordPress, Drupal, Typo 3, not so easy because you have not have eventually an API, but you have all the web-based mechanisms, you have the forms, you have basically the complete web stack that you can attack and take advantage of, along as with if we look at the very big open source CMSs like WordPress, they have a gigantic plugin ecosystem, which is one of the reasons why they became so big, because you can find basically everything what you need for the problems that you're trying to solve. But those plugin mechanisms, those extensions of many different developers become a problem to those platforms, because very often they are the entrance door for issues, and you don't have that if the only open point is the API to the outside. And my thoughts on Gen AI is, I think everyone by now is amazed by what AI can be doing. People from the tech industry have taken AI a little bit more serious before ChatGPT even, but even the ones that did are probably surprised and amazed by what is possible nowadays with Gen AI, be it content generation with text, with image, with audio, with video. I think content management systems like ours that are extensible can capitalize on this a lot, because we are in a way the storage engine. We can be the storage engine for your Gen AI production. And we actually have a bunch of customers that do this for a while. They use generative AI to generate a lot of content, to rank very good on for a lot of SEO keywords. And I think we'll be seeing a lot of automation. And then, of course, one has to see this critical as well, because all those ideas that have been built on for 10, 20 years, like search engines, what are they even worth it? So we'll see a whole paradigm shift of like a gigantic effect of things changing over the next couple of years. But we are already starting with Hygraph to integrate a lot of those mechanisms into our product using extensions. And we work with partners on it, on different plugins for generative schema creation, so API, your content definitions, generative content. And one interesting aspect, not just besides generating the content, is generating the code. So the product that you're building that later on will fetch the content from the headless CMS itself, you can also partially or to some extent already automate this. And this has always been the trickiest part in the whole development cycle, because also, like in software development, 80% of projects simply fail or die because there's no capacity at some point. And you can work against that with Gen AI also. So we'll see more and more use cases coming up, more and more products popping up thanks to Gen AI. So I think it's a really cool time.
Michael, thank you so much for taking time out today and talk about Hygraph, the whole market for headless CMSs and the kind of scope of these technologies. Thank you so much for all those insights, and I would love to chat with you again. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Swapnil. Bye.